Ultimately, humanity cannot escape the fate of death. The vast majority of people eventually pass away due to various illnesses. What is the true underlying logic behind this? Many people treat illness as a trivial matter, believing that headaches and colds can be easily treated with medication, and chronic diseases can be stabilized through gradual management. They never stop to consider that the billions of cells supporting our bodies are constantly engaged in an invisible battle of life and death. Every illness we experience is essentially the result of countless cells' valiant fight, ultimately proving futile. Many have heard of the basic theory of cells constituting the human body, but few are willing to admit that each cell in our body possesses its own instinctive consciousness. They are not merely cold physiological tissues. Like humans, they are rooted in an instinctive fear of death, while simultaneously harboring a strong desire to continue living. This instinct is the most primal driving force behind cells' fight against disease. From the moment we are born, our cellular communities establish a complete defense system, protecting the body's homeostasis day after day. Once a pathogen invades the body, or if there is a defect in our genes, the cells immediately assemble and begin a long and brutal battle. This battle has no breaks, no retreat. All cells fight with all their might until their energy is completely exhausted, leading to death. The pain, weakness, and fatigue we experience are all the most direct external manifestations of cellular damage and weakened fighting power. Next, let's clarify the two core categories of diseases: infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases. The root causes of these two diseases are completely different, and the cellular responses are also vastly different. Understanding these differences will help us understand the key points for daily protection. First, let's discuss infectious diseases. The causes of these diseases are very clear. Various viruses, bacteria, mycoplasma, parasites, and other pathogenic microorganisms invading from the outside world. Simply put, our bodies come into contact with external pathogenic invaders, ultimately leading to infection. Some may wonder why, when exposed to the same pathogen, some people remain unaffected while others immediately fall ill. The core difference lies in the strength of their own immune system, commonly known as immunity. When the body's immune defenses are strong and intact, a small number of foreign pathogens entering the body are instantly eliminated by immune cells, without any chance to multiply. However, once our immune level declines, the previously robust defenses become vulnerable, allowing foreign pathogens to seize the opportunity, rapidly divide and multiply, spreading throughout the body via the bloodstream and interstitial spaces, continuously consuming normal cells and disrupting the normal functioning of organs. This leads to a series of infection symptoms, including fever, inflammation, pain, and fatigue. This is clearly evidenced by the infectious disease control statistics published by the World Health Organization over the years. During the peak season for seasonal respiratory infectious diseases, susceptible populations are primarily concentrated in groups with weakened immune systems, including young children, the elderly office workers who frequently work late nights and exhaust themselves, and people recovering from surgery. These individuals have insufficient immune cell activity, significantly reducing their ability to fight off invading pathogens and greatly increasing their probability of contracting the disease. Take the most common influenza as an example. The flu virus spreads through droplets and contact. In healthy individuals, the immune cells can quickly identify the virus's characteristics and eliminate it within a short time, often resulting in a full recovery within a few days. However, in people with weakened immune systems, the virus continues to attack respiratory cells, gradually infecting the bronchi and lungs, easily leading to complications such as pneumonia. In these cases, medication is needed to assist the cells in their fight against the virus, gradually turning the tide. This clearly demonstrates that immunity is the strongest foundation for cells to combat infectious diseases. Having discussed infectious diseases, let's talk about the more challenging and widespread non-infectious diseases. Compared to the explicit threat posed by external pathogens, non-infectious diseases are enemies born within the body, with more complex and insidious causes. They are broadly divided into two categories: hereditary diseases and acquired non-hereditary diseases. Let's first talk about hereditary diseases. These diseases are determined from the very beginning of life, at the stage of fertilization. The parent's gene sequences carry disease-causing segments, which are passed on to the offspring's gene chain after fertilization. In other words, the moment we are born, bad genes are already rooted in every somatic cell. From that moment on, the long-term battle between the body's cells and the congenital lesions officially begins. Many people think that hereditary diseases are very far removed from ordinary people. But this is not the case. Common diseases such as thalassemia, congenital hemophilia, hereditary hypertension, congenital asthma, and some hereditary skin diseases all fall into the category of hereditary diseases. Disease-causing genes continuously affect the synthesis, division, and metabolic functions of cells. Some cells are born with functional defects and cannot perform their functions as efficiently as normal cells, and they will gradually affect the operation of surrounding healthy cells. These types of congenital problems are indeed difficult to completely eradicate. Current medical technology cannot fully rewrite genetic defects. However, this does not mean we are forced to passively accept our fate. The battle of cells can be aided by postnatal care and support. Through regular sleep patterns, a balanced diet, moderate exercise, and regular medical screenings, we can stabilize cell activity, slow the progression of lesions, reduce the frequency of severe episodes, and extend the lifespan of health. Take hereditary hypertension as an example. Individuals carrying susceptible genes have vascular endothelial cells that are inherently more prone to damage, and their blood pressure regulating cells are inherently less efficient, making them more susceptible to high blood pressure than the general population. However, by maintaining a low-salt diet, engaging in regular exercise, avoiding tobacco and alcohol, and regularly monitoring bodily indicators, they can stabilize cell function and coexist with these congenital problems for a long time, leading to a healthy life. This is the optimal solution for the long-term battle between cells and congenital diseases. Next, we will focus on non-hereditary diseases acquired later in life. These diseases do not have congenital gene defects. They are entirely the result of long-term accumulated lifestyle habits. They are also the type of diseases that everyone is most capable of actively avoiding, making them highly controllable, yet they are a major area of disease prevalence in modern people. Poor daily habits gradually undermine the cellular environment and weaken the fighting ability of immune cells. Various hidden dangers accumulate over time, eventually evolving into real chronic diseases and organ damage. The most prominent example is neglecting personal hygiene. Hands are constantly contaminated with bacteria and fungi from the environment. Failure to clean hands before meals, after using the toilet, and upon returning home and touching the mouth, nose, and eating with germ-laden hands, even if seemingly avoiding contact with highly infectious pathogens, allows a large number of opportunistic pathogens to continuously invade the body, chronically attacking mucosal and gastrointestinal cells, easily inducing gastroenteritis, skin inflammation, oral diseases, and other problems. These may seem like minor issues, but they continuously deplete the fighting power of immune cells, laying the groundwork for various chronic diseases later on. Secondly, a common problem among modern people is chronic sleep deprivation. Cell division and repair primarily occur during deep sleep at night. Every night after sleep, damaged cells initiate their self-repair process, and immune cells replenish energy and regain activity. Long-term sleep deprivation and disrupted sleep patterns forcibly deprive cells of this time for rest and repair. Without sufficient nutrients and rest, cell activity plummets, weakening the immune system and significantly reducing immunity. This is the core reason why people who frequently stay up late are prone to colds, fatigue, and slow wound healing. Furthermore, a lack of sufficient physical activity is also a key factor damaging cell health. Moderate exercise accelerates blood circulation, improves oxygen supply to heart and lung cells, promotes metabolism, accelerates the elimination of old and apoptotic cells, and stimulates the generation and activity of immune cells. Conversely, sedentary individuals who rarely exercise experience slow blood circulation, insufficient cellular oxygen supply, and the accumulation of metabolic waste, abnormal fat cell accumulation, and a continuously increasing burden on pancreatic, liver, and cardiovascular cells lead to fatty liver, high cholesterol, diabetes, and cardiovascular problems. Besides the points mentioned above, overeating, a long-term diet high in oil, sugar, and salt, chronic negative emotions, excessive alcohol, and smoking, and being in a state of high stress and anxiety can all damage cells from different angles, gradually creating internal lesions and giving rise to acquired non-communicable diseases. All of these problems are entirely in our own hands. By adjusting our lifestyles, we can reduce the stress on our cells at the root, significantly lowering the probability of illness. The initiative is completely in our own hands. When we are truly suffering from illness and our bodies send out uncomfortable signals, most people only focus on their own pain and discomfort, rarely realizing that at this moment, billions of cells and organs throughout the body are fighting with all their might for us. Every subtle physiological function is the result of countless cells risking their lives to persevere. Next, we will use a concrete process to show you the silent contributions of cells. Let's take the work of red blood cells as an example. Many people are unaware of how astonishing the efficiency of hematopoiesis in the human body is. In just 1 second, our bone marrow hematopoietic system can generate 1 million new red blood cells. After these new red blood cells are born, they immediately enter the blood vessels throughout the body and travel through every corner of the body along the blood circulation. Their most important mission is to combine with the oxygen inhaled from the lungs and deliver oxygen to all tissue cells in the body, continuously supplying energy for the operation of muscles, organs, and nerves, while carrying away waste products such as carbon dioxide produced by cell metabolism and transporting them back to the lungs to complete gas exchange. A single red blood cell has a complete lifespan of only about 120 days. During these 4 months, it works tirelessly day and night without a moment's rest until it exhausts all its functions and quietly dies, silently completing its mission without ever sending a signal for reward. Day after day, it silently supports our daily actions, thoughts, work, and life. We can try to extend our imagination. Every moment of every 24 hours, a massive number of red blood cells are newly generated, while an equal number silently die. It is this relentless army of red blood cells that builds the core network for the body's oxygen supply. If the production and function of red blood cells malfunction, the body will immediately experience symptoms such as hypoxia, dizziness, fatigue, and paleness, demonstrating the irreplaceable value of these tiny cells. If red blood cells are the silent logistical support force, then white blood cells are the frontline combat force protecting the body. Whenever we have a skin wound or a large-scale invasion of pathogens causing infection, white blood cells are always the first to rush to the battlefield, at the forefront of the fight against the enemy. White blood cells possess a powerful phagocytic ability, accurately identifying foreign bacteria, viruses, foreign substances, and abnormal, aging, or diseased cells within the body. Once they lock onto their targets, they actively engulf pathogens, using intracellular enzymes to break down and eliminate the invaders. In a battle against infection, white blood cells fight relentlessly, continuously engulfing pathogens until their internal energy is completely depleted, their cell structure completely disintegrates, and they die a heroic death. Everyone has seen thick, yellowish pus appear at the site of a skin injury. Many people think pus is dirty, but its main component is the corpses of a large number of white blood cells that have died fighting pathogens, mixed with eliminated pathogens and fragments of damaged tissue. Every drop of pus is proof of the immune cell's desperate battle. When a wound is slightly abraded and a small number of pathogens invade, white blood cells can easily eliminate them. We only need to clean the wound, and the body can heal smoothly using its own immune system. However, if the wound is deep or contaminated with a large number of highly pathogenic bacteria, white blood cells will be deployed in large numbers, leading to a sharp increase in casualties. We will experience redness, swelling, fever, and severe pain at the wound site. This is a sign of intense fighting on the front lines. If the white blood cell count is insufficient to suppress the pathogens, external disinfectants and oral anti-inflammatory drugs are needed to assist, reducing the burden on white blood cells and helping them fight off the invaders. Besides dealing with skin wound infections, inflammatory responses in internal organs are also the result of white blood cells fighting valiantly inside. Gastroenteritis, tonsillitis, pneumonia, nephritis. All inflammations are essentially battles between white blood cells and pathogens within organ tissues. The inflammatory pain and fever we experience are external manifestations of this immune battle. High fever is a tactic where the body actively raises its temperature to inhibit bacterial growth and enhance the activity of white blood cells. Behind every unpleasant fever is the process of immune cells fighting with all their might to protect us. Besides the two main cell types, red blood cells and white blood cells, every type of cell in the body has an irreplaceable role, each performing its function to build a complete life defense line. Liver cells bear the heavy responsibility of detoxification and metabolism throughout the body. The breakdown and filtration of all foreign substances, including food, medicine, and alcohol, are all done by liver cells day and night. Long-term poor diet and excessive drinking will continuously increase the workload of liver cells. After liver cells are damaged, they will strive to repair themselves. Repeated damage and repair will gradually lead to disease. Myocardial cells contract and beat regularly throughout their lives, never stopping from birth to death, driving the blood circulation throughout the body. Long-term staying up late, high-pressure and high-fat diet will increase the burden on myocardial cells. Nerve cells are responsible for transmitting signals and instructions throughout the body and coordinating the coordinated operation of all organs. Gastrointestinal cells are responsible for digesting and absorbing nutrients. Bone cells support the human body. Skin cells build the first physical barrier of the human body. Countless types of cells cooperate and form an unbreakable whole. When a large number of cells in a certain category are damaged and die, the corresponding organ function declines. When cells in multiple organs suffer severe damage from prolonged fighting and are unable to repair and regenerate, organ function gradually fails, which is the root cause of our approaching death. The natural law of birth, aging, illness, and death is essentially the inevitable process of cells going from vigorous division to gradual aging, declining repair capabilities, and ultimately becoming powerless to fight against internal and external pathogenic factors. At this point, everyone should fully understand that treating our bodies well is not just an empty slogan for health preservation, but rather treating the millions of cells within our bodies that work tirelessly for us. In the world, there are gaps in wealth, social status, and social standing. Whether one is a wealthy person living in luxury or an ordinary person eating simple food, in the eyes of all the cells in our bodies, there is no distinction of status, wealth, or position. We are the only partners they need to protect and save at all costs. Cells don't show preferential treatment because their owner is wealthy, nor do they become passive or lazy because their owner is ordinary. No matter what situation we are in, as long as our body encounters a crisis, all cells will instinctively assemble and fight without reservation, using all their functions to protect our lives. This selfless protection is incomparably precious. On the other hand, many people's daily practices really let down the cell's efforts. Knowing that staying up late is harmful to health, they still stay up all night watching videos or socializing for work, forcibly depriving cells of time to repair themselves. Knowing that overeating and consuming high-fat and high-sugar foods will damage organs, they still indulge in food without restraint, constantly increasing the burden on metabolic cells. Knowing that exercise is good for health, they sit for long periods of time, allowing blood circulation to slow down and immune activity to continue to decline. When faced with troubles, they keep them bottled up, allowing negative emotions to disrupt the endocrine system, indirectly damaging the cell's stable environment, and actively creating difficulties for the cells, making their already difficult battle even more difficult. Some might say that occasional indulgence is harmless, and the body can handle the strain. However, cellular damage is never instantaneous. It's the accumulation of years of bad habits. A single instance of overexertion may seem harmless, but countless cells silently suffer damage, quietly depleting their lifespan. By the time the body sends clear signals of illness, the cellular damage has already reached a certain level, making repair significantly more difficult. We don't need to pursue extremely strict health regimens or strive for perfection in everything. Simply making changes within our capabilities can genuinely reduce the pressure on our cells. Ensure sufficient sleep each day to give cells a full window for repair. Maintain basic personal hygiene to cut off the pathways for pathogens and reduce unnecessary consumption of immune cells. Eat regular meals with a balanced diet of meat and vegetables to provide cells with ample and comprehensive nutrients. Dedicate time each week to moderate exercise to activate the activity of cells throughout the body. Learn to manage negative emotions, maintain a peaceful and stable mindset, and keep the endocrine environment stable. And complete regular physical examinations on time to detect early signs of cellular disease and intervene promptly. These simple acts are the best way to reward our hard-working cells. By taking good care of our bodies, our cells can maintain their strong fighting power, effectively dealing with external pathogens and internal threats, significantly reducing the probability of illness, and leading to a healthier and longer life. We must also rationally view the limits of cells and the laws of life. Cells have a fixed upper limit to division, and human aging is irreversible. As we age, the regenerative and repair capabilities of cells naturally weaken, and immunity gradually declines. This is a natural law governing all things. We cannot completely reverse aging, but we can certainly slow down its pace and reduce the incidence of disease. Facing congenital genetic diseases, there's no need for excessive pessimism or despair. Modern medicine is constantly evolving and advancing. Technologies such as gene testing, targeted therapy, and long-term chronic disease management are continuously upgrading, effectively helping cells counteract congenital lesions. For diseases that can be avoided, we must proactively take control, safeguarding the bottom line of a healthy life, and not wait until serious illness strikes before regretting the reckless depletion of our bodies in the past. Every recovery from illness is a victory achieved after a fierce battle by our cells. We must remember this silent sacrifice, always respect our bodies, and cherish the health our cells have worked so hard to achieve. Recent reports from the National Center for Disease Control and Prevention on national health status show that the age of onset for chronic non-communicable diseases in China is decreasing year by year. The core cause is the unhealthy lifestyle of young people, with late nights, sedentary lifestyles, takeout food, and high stress levels becoming the norm. A large number of young people's immune cells are constantly under heavy strain, leading to widespread subhealth. Many young people in their 20s and 30s are already experiencing high cholesterol, gastrointestinal problems, cervical spondylosis, and weakened immunity, warning signals from their body cells. This data constantly reminds us that health is not a permanent, innate asset. It requires careful daily maintenance. Billions of cells in our bodies work tirelessly to protect us, and we should repay them with kindness and not squander our health. Behind our healthy and energetic lives, enjoying the simple pleasures of life, lies the tireless dedication of countless cells. When we suffer from illness and are bedridden, it is countless cells that fight tooth and nail to safeguard our lives. This silent protection deserves our utmost care. We are always pursuing wealth, fame, and material comforts outward, often neglecting our physical bodies that bear it all. Wealth lost can be earned back, and missed opportunities can be waited for again. However, once health is completely lost, it is difficult to regain. The core of protecting health is protecting every single cell in our bodies that strives to survive. Treating our bodies well is always the most cost-effective investment, and the gentlest reward for the cells that fight silently. We can calmly reflect on every cold we've recovered from, every wound that has healed, and every recovery from a serious illness. These are all hard-fought battles won by our immune cells. They don't speak, they don't boast, they simply fulfill their mission silently, even when injured or dying, without complaint. This selfless protection deserves our careful attention to every meal, every rest, and every mood we experience daily. Don't always think that youth is your only asset and that your body will never have problems. Cells have a limit to their tolerance. Long-term, excessive consumption will eventually lead to them becoming overwhelmed. Start making small changes now. Go to bed a few minutes earlier. Walk a few more steps. Skip a meal of oily and salty takeout. Practice good hand hygiene and manage pent-up negative emotions. These small changes will gradually improve the cellular environment and strengthen our body's defenses. We cannot change our genetic predispositions, nor can we completely prevent external pathogens, but we hold the power to choose our lifestyle. Using this power wisely provides our cells with the strongest support, giving them the strength to fight disease and protect our lives for a long time. All the success and prosperity in life is built on the foundation of good health, and billions of cells are the most loyal warriors protecting this foundation. Recognizing the sacrifices our cells make, understanding the nature of disease, and cherishing our bodies is the most sensible way to live. Many people may not know that besides directly fighting against germs and genetic defects, our cells also silently endure many hidden damages that we overlook in our daily lives. These damages don't immediately cause illness, but they slowly erode the vitality of cells day after day, causing their fighting ability to decline year by year. This is also a core reason why modern people are becoming increasingly fragile and prone to minor illnesses. Take the most common thing like looking down at your phone for a long time, for example. Most people spend most of their day looking down at their phones or computers. Maintaining a fixed posture for a long time continuously compresses the blood vessels and nerves in the neck, causing chronic, poor blood circulation in the neck. This results in insufficient blood supply to the brain and shoulders, leaving neck cells, brain nerve cells, and shoulder and back muscle cells in a state of chronic hypoxia and strain, unable to metabolize and repair normally. Over time, Continuous cell damage and apoptosis lead to problems such as stiff neck, dizziness, headaches, and shoulder and back pain. In severe cases, it can even cause cervical spine deformation and insufficient blood supply to the brain. All of these are silent protests from cells that have been overloaded for a long time and have not been repaired. Many people think neck pain is just a minor ailment that can be relieved with a massage and rest. However, they don't realize that each instance of pain is a distress signal from damaged muscle and nerve cells. These cells can't speak, so they rely on physical discomfort to remind us to stop the damage. Many people also habitually hold in their urine, feces, and sneezes. These seemingly insignificant acts of laziness actually increase the burden on the body's cells. Holding in urine for extended periods causes metabolic waste and toxins to accumulate in the bladder, continuously eroding the bladder lining. This not only puts bladder cells under constant pressure and damage, but also breeds bacteria, easily triggering urinary tract infections and causing immune cells to launch unnecessary battles. Holding in feces for extended periods allows toxins to be repeatedly absorbed by intestinal cells, continuously damaging the intestinal mucosa, disrupting the balance of gut microbiota, and weakening the metabolic function of intestinal cells, eventually leading to constipation, gastroenteritis, intestinal polyps, and other problems. In addition, many people don't like to add layers in cold weather and spend long periods in summer in cold air, allowing cold air to continuously invade the body, stagnate blood circulation, constrict blood vessels, slow blood flow, and significantly reduce the efficiency of oxygen and energy supply to cells. This directly reduces the activity of immune cells, which is the core reason for the frequent occurrence of colds and flu during seasonal changes in autumn and winter. All of these are due to our bad habits, artificially creating a predicament for ourselves. Furthermore, the impact of emotions on cellular state is far more profound than we imagine, a core aspect of health that many people easily overlook. The World Health Organization has long listed emotional stress as a significant risk factor for chronic diseases. Long-term anxiety, depression, anger, and irritability directly disrupt the balance of the body's endocrine and nervous systems, secreting large amounts of negative stress hormones. These hormones spread throughout the blood vessels, eroding every cell. People with chronically low moods experience a significant reduction in the activity of immune cells. The phagocytic ability of white blood cells and the regeneration of new cells are inhibited, essentially dismantling the body's immune defenses and giving pathogens and lesions an opportunity to invade. In life, we often observe that people with an optimistic, cheerful, and peaceful mindset tend to have better physical health and are less prone to illness. Conversely, those who are frequently angry, preoccupied, and prone to internal conflict are often plagued by minor ailments and have weak constitutions. The core difference lies in the drastically different living environments of their cells. A good mood nourishes cells and activates their fighting power, while negative emotions continuously deplete cells and damage their function. This is the best and most free way to maintain health. Here's another real-life health case to help you better understand the sacrifice and resilience of cells. Many office workers around us work overtime year-round, maintaining a pattern of late nights, sedentary lifestyles, and irregular meals. They rely on coffee and milk tea to stay awake during the day and stay up late working or scrolling through their phones at night. While they may not appear to have any major health problems, their cells are already severely damaged. Many young people in their early 30s suffer from chronic subhealth, experiencing frequent colds, mouth ulcers, fatigue, and slow healing wounds. After medical examinations, doctors often diagnose them with weakened immunity and declining bodily functions. Essentially, this is due to long-term overexertion of the body, forcing immune and metabolic cells to work under constant strain without any repair, leading to complete depletion of their fighting capacity. However, these individuals can experience significant improvement in their health simply by adjusting their sleep schedule, maintaining regular meals, and engaging in moderate exercise for 1 or 2 months. They become less prone to illness and more energetic. This demonstrates the powerful repair capabilities of cells. If we treat our bodies well and give cells a chance to rest and repair, they will do their utmost to help us restore a healthy homeostasis. We must also understand that the cells never fight alone. The body's self-healing ability is essentially the combined power of countless cells working together. Minor abrasions, colds, and fatigue do not require medication. The body can heal itself through cellular self-repair and immune system defense. This is the most powerful survival ability that the human body has evolved over millions of years. However, this self-healing power is not limitless. It relies on the cell's energy reserves and activity. Long-term overdrafting and the depletion caused by unhealthy habits will gradually erode the foundation of this self-healing power. When the self-healing power completely declines, the cells are powerless to fight, and various serious and chronic diseases will follow. Therefore, health preservation is never about treating disease, but about nourishing cells and the self-healing power. Maintaining healthy daily habits is about protecting the cell's fighting strength and safeguarding our lifelong health. Finally, I want to tell everyone that the prerequisite for pursuing fame, fortune, and enjoyment in this life is always good health. All happiness, joy, dreams, and the future require a healthy body to bear them. And protecting this body are millions of unsung heroes, fighting tirelessly. From the moment we are born, they never abandon us, regardless of our poverty or wealth, health or illness, always doing their utmost to protect our lives, even when repeatedly depleted and damaged by us. They remain steadfast in their posts, never slacking off. I hope that everyone who watches this video can truly understand the tragic yet tender nature of cells and from then on, treat their bodies better. Give up useless bad habits, cherish every healthy day, and not let down the countless cells that sacrifice their lives to protect them. If you find the content both healing and informative, please like, save, and share it with your family. Subscribe to the channel for more health science information. Let's love ourselves together and protect every single cell in our bodies that is fighting so hard to survive.